Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Legends of Tomorrow Season 7 review series. And today I am going to be talking about episode 12, Too Legit to Quit, which I have just finished watching. And before we get into talking about episode 12, I just want to quickly say that we are now one episode away from season 7 being brought to a close, which also means that we are now one review away from wrapping up this review series for good. And in my honest opinion, I think season 7 has been a hit and miss for me. There has been some good episodes, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, a lot of the episodes in this season just hasn't been that good. I mean, some of the episodes have been absolutely terrible, but there has been some episodes that have been pretty weak, but there has been some moments which kind of like save the episode, so it's been like 50-50. But by and large, this season won't go down as one of the show's best, but that's for another conversation for another time. So with that all said, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode 12, Too Legit to Quit. So, as we saw at the end of episode 11, we saw a badly burned robot version of Astra stab Gideon in the back, and it looked like she was killed off. So, this episode pretty much picks up where we left off from the end of episode 11. So, we see the Legends reactivate Computer Gideon and remind her of Protocol 276, which prohibits her from harming herself. And we see Dr. Gwyn Davis heals Gideon and manages to close up her deep laceration wound that she suffered. Now, this device that he used was like a laser which just closes up the wound to the point that there's no blood or scarring left. And that's definitely something I'd like to see be used in real life if they ever did make something like that. So we see Gideon has recovered, the human Gideon, I should say, and they come to an agreement to spare the Legends under the condition that they retire as they see glimpses of their future as a sign of good faith. Now, this episode was actually really good. I mean, there were a couple of silly moments, but this episode, for the first time, actually felt like it was the last one. I mean, as far as I know, season 8 is good to go, but we haven't had any confirmation on that. But this episode really felt like it was the end. It definitely had the feel of series finale, not season finale, series finale, like, final episode syndrome. And throughout this episode, as I mentioned, all of the Legends were showed their future, and you really got the sense that this could actually be it, even though we're one episode left from this season being wrapped up. But just for the moment, just while watching this, it definitely felt like this could very well be the end. I mean, if this was the last episode, I think this would have probably been a decent way to go out on, though I do think the 100th special, where all of the Legends came back and we see all of them standing in the corridor as they showed their love and respect to Gideon, I think that would have been a much better way to close the show, in my opinion. So we see the Legends initially distrust this idea and try to destroy Computer Gideon, who is the evil one, but human Gideon has agreed to become a Time Master and watch over her. So eventually the Legends contractually agree to retire, and Astra duplicates the mansion key so they can all visit one another. And the realization they all come to is that once they go to their respective timelines, they won't be able to see each other again. So this is where things started to get a little bit emotional. We started to see the Legends have dinner and eating lots of cake and started playing games. So you really got the sense that, this could very well be it. So we see human Gideon rescues Alan and puts him in the room with Gwyn, and they finally see each other again, which was a nice touch. And then we see all of the Legends eventually go their separate ways. not before taking a few pictures with one another, as we see each of the legends disappear one by one, and Gary agrees to actually stay with Gideon. And we see towards the end of the episode, Gideon later admits that Alan's death was a fixed point in history, and she created a robot duplicate of him. And Gwyn discovers this and plots to rescue the real Alan. And we see Gary comes to the conclusion that he cannot deal with decisions like this anymore. And we see Computer Gideon ejects Gary and throws him out of the Wave Rider and lies to Gideon that Gary has left the Wave Rider and it was his decision. And that pretty much ends episode 12 on a very chilling note. Overall, I thought this episode was really good. As I said, there were a couple of moments that were a little bit stupid, but by and large, I thought this was a pretty good, solid episode. And, you can see all of the legends getting choked up and very emotional. Zari 2.0, at least for this episode anyway, actually showed a real serious human side to her, which is something we haven't really seen since the original Zari. So, we got to see lots of things like that, but this episode was very weird. Definitely felt like it was the end, even though it's not, but I'm just wondering, when the time comes, how will they end Legends of Tomorrow? Could they do it like this? I mean, who knows really, but by and large, I thought this was pretty good, and this was actually the first time in a while that I didn't actually scream at the TV and just thought, oh my god, why are they doing this? How can this show get any worse? But, this episode was pretty good. And as I said in the past, Legends of Tomorrow, when they want to, they can actually come through with a good episode. They actually can deliver. And I felt with this one, they did just that. So we are now gearing towards the season 7 finale, and I'm quite curious to see how this one is going to play out. So that's going to be it for me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on episode 12? Did you enjoy it? How did you feel about the legends contractually retiring? How do you think that's going to play out? Do you think they'll stick to their retirements? And also, what about Gary being kicked out of the Wave Rider? Do you think he will survive? And also, while you was watching this episode, did you get the impression that this felt like the end? Or did this feel like another episode to you? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for the final edition of the Legends of Tomorrow Season 7 review series, where I am going to be talking about episode 13, which I'm really curious to see how this is all going to play out, especially with the way this episode ended on such a chilling note, and hopefully this should be a good one. But we'll just have to wait and see, really, because every time you think that Legends of Tomorrow is going to come through with another good episode, they always do a U-turn and just flop in a big way. So I'm going to remain neutral on this one, but fingers crossed, let's hope it is a good one. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.